is Radio Now 95.3 FM. Come for the news, stay for informed conversations.
The price of compressed natural gas (CNG) has risen to 380 naira per square cubic meter following the reduction of subsidy payments by the federal government. CNG has been touted as a viable alternative to fossil fuels following the end of fuel subsidy payments in 2023. Joining the conversation this morning is Jide Fashetire, a CNG expert. Good morning, sir. Thank you for joining us on the conversation.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for having me.
To start off with, the most obvious point has to be the increase in the price of CNG. And I'm curious, Mr. Fashetire, does this new price reflect the actual cost of CNG?
Yeah, thank you so much. Actually, it was a big shock. You know, in the onset, when we are more like the advocates then, when this PCING and the government alternative for fuel was campaigning then that if you can go for fuel, then you have an option of using compressed natural gas, and it's more cheaper, safer, and for cleaner energy. So one of the big questions from the intending installer then was that, are you sure we are not deceived into this? By the time they've installed and now running on alternative fuel, it will not lead to increase. We are of full assurance that I can assure you compressed natural gas is being derived here in the country, is not exported. The only thing that can be, of course, is the piping and probably the transportation, probably to the refuel station. So, and it came as a research because most of them have been receiving call and backlash that, look, I told you, see what is happening now. I just kept mute.
I do wonder, you've noted that it's not exported. But much like crude oil, when we're talking about it, there's always the point experts make that it's an internationally priced product. So even if you're sourcing it locally, it has to be pegged to that price, or it's mostly pegged to that price. Is that the same case with CNG?
No, before CNG is being thrown open for commercial vehicle and private car owners start using it, CNG has been sold to industries. So it's mainly used for industrial use mostly. So there has been a earlier usage of it in Benin, but mostly they sell to big industry for their use of operation on daily. And this CNG price has been high as maybe 500, 600 per SCM, that's standard cubic meter. So now because it has been brought to the usage of private cars and public commercial buses, so the price was pegged at like 230 naira then, just for the acceptance and to know there is an alternative fuel. So to some of these even high trucks, these heavy duty trucks, they don't see it as probably an increase because unfortunately that the price that they are selling at when it was 230, these heavy duty trucks are still buying theirs as high as maybe 380, 240, but there has not been so much noise because they are of a beneficiary advantage to their business and operation then, because compared to purchase of diesel. But because this sharp increase is more like a betrayal of trust to the public that, look, you told us that fuel is expensive. Now we are now moving down to alternative fuel and the increment has commenced. So the question will now be, are you sure maybe in the next 6 months or 1 year, there won't be any something like economic reality that the price might have shifted from 380 probably to 500 or thereabout, almost competing with petrol.
And I mean, we already understand that for heavy duty trucks, they're doing up to 450 naira per SCM. And like you said, there are some projections that it might hit as high as that 500. By this estimation, if we just consider that this was a presidential initiative that started off, about 2 years ago now, 2 years in, since this price is increasing this exponentially, is it safe to say that this reform seems to have failed to hit the mark that it had set out to achieve?
Yeah, actually, considering that all over the world, the economy is not stable, and it's the high time that we live with the reality. And again, in the projection that, okay, before 2027, there's this drive to achieve like 1 million vehicle running on CNG. But to me, I will still say we are still on track and we are still focused. But the only thing at this point is just to gain the public trust. That's fine. There is economic shift or instability that has determined, and even for the fact that the subsidy, because it was not even known to most people that this CNG was initially subsidized. So assuming it has been known to us that it was subsidized, or maybe anytime soon the subsidy will be removed, there is this plan for it. And this sharp increase or the removal of subsidies has a multiplying effect on so many things, because this is an emerging industry that has brought in some people, locally investors, having conversion center, employing new people to set up a conversion center, and even emerging industry that has brought in some key sellers into the country, and people going from here and there, some people managing fleet, some even apart from the one-off installation of this CNG conversion, there's this maintenance that will still come after. So some people are already going for training, trying to establish, and now seeing this, some people that have even been saving up for the conversion might just think twice and probably divert their money into something else or start sticking to the use of petrol.
Forgive me, Mr. Fashatiri. I come back to this question of whether the reform has failed or not. And I'm aware that because 2027 is still far away, maybe it is premature to pass an assessment. But like you've noted, the government has the target of 1 million converted vehicles by 2027. Yes. As of 2024, the target was 240 or 50,000 vehicles. And what we understand is, as of right now, it's only about 100,000 vehicles that have been converted. When you also consider the filling stations, there were initial complaints from as late as last year into early this year where a number of filling stations either did not have the product for refueling, or what we've heard consistently is that there are long queues at those minimal stations across the country. So if you just consider what the progress has been so far, would you say that we're on track to actually hit 1 million vehicles by 2027? And with this perception of how quickly the price has increased, what do you think it does to, I guess, coming back to public perception of adopting this as an alternative source?
Okay. So let me state clearly now that the program for this conversion of vehicle, it has not really failed. It's still on track and it's still in the pipeline. But, for an emerging industry coming out, the usage of CNG, there are some unplanned events that can just crumble. And in the case of the aspect of the PCI-NG, there was a hold at some point in time, probably in the course of the kit distribution, that has really reduced the pace of their operation. Because I think by now, they could have doubled that number as I'm speaking now. But I think they are trying to carry out some restructure so that they can have a smooth sail. And even we can rule out some saboteurs in these projects, because some people are just working tirelessly for it not to see the light of the day, or probably for it not to be a success. But PCNG are really on top of it. And being a CNG expert too in the terms of the installation, there are so many things that we are collaborating with them to make sure that this is a success program in the course of doing it, and we are really on top of it. And very soon they will resume the mass installation again. I can assure you that. And as I speak to you, so many people still have that confidence that they might not meet that 2027 1 million mark, but they can be an extension or probably a phase 2 of it, but plus and minus, because in the course of even trying to convert, you have to make sure that this conversion is not handled by the quack. So those are the areas that they are also looking. Then again, for it not to find its way out to the hands of maybe untrained technicians, things like this. So these are what they are putting. Then in the aspect of the limitation of the CNG refuel station, That is another big challenge, because I discovered that to some of my customers, the moment they hit a queue on any refuel station, they tend to opt to buy fuel.
Right.
So these are little setbacks, and I feel this emerging industry needs investors. I won't lie to you. And probably the investors, what they are looking at about is that, okay, my return on investment, how long will I achieve what I've put into it? So those are the limitations that could cause for the extension of 2027 of achieving 1 million vehicles running on CNG.
Mr. Fashetire, thank you very much for your time and expertise on this conversation. Jide Fashetire is a CNG expert and a mechanical engineer who joined us to speak on the rise in price of CNG. For private vehicles, that is somewhere around 380 naira per square cubic meter, and for trucks, they are paying upwards of 400 naira per square cubic meter. That price, of course, has seen a jump with the end or the partial cutting of subsidy payments on CNG by the federal government. You're still listening to Radio Now 95.3 FM Lagos, your Beyond the News station. We urge you to stay tuned. In a few short moments, our conversation turns towards security in the north. Do stay with us.
This is Now Breakfast.
The Northern Elder.
This is Radio Now 95.3 FM. Come for the news, stay for informed conversations.